helping you make those realizations. This I can stop, but this is what really adds value to my life. So if I stop doing this, I can go on holiday. And maybe you don't want to stop the lunch, and that's okay.
That's okay.
How do I
continue
108,000 shillings a year?
A year.
So, and that's where we start with, because a lot of people say, can I just come for the investments class? But I'm like, if we've not gone through, where's your money going at the moment?
There you go.
Just helping you understand. Track your money daily. We give you a tool. Where is your money going every moment? Yeah. Where are you today? What assets?
You don't ever used to know my bank balance.
Exactly.
Yes. Did you know how much you actually have?
How much money?
Go to the ATM? Or these days, you know, you
shares that got lost in an IPO.
I know.
An insurance policy.
Yes.
Some plots of land, money in the chama. Where are you? And what are the things that are working for you?
And what is wasting your time?
What is wasting your time and should be moved to other places?
Yes.
Do you have debt? Many people have taken on debt but don't understand how debt works. So you feel so trapped in debt. Yet if you understand the science behind debt and how they do the calculations, you can get out of debt.
You can.
Lunch money can get you out of debt. And that's what we actually show you.
Yes.
And come to the time value of money class.
But there was a unit we did where you made us start a business.
Yes.
With, I think, 100,000 bob.
Yes.
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 That is how I got here.
The world cheats us that if I earn 50,000 shillings, I should only think of opportunities that are when it comes to investments, that is one place you should not think within your means.
There you go.
Yeah. Yes. So what we do is people limit. I earn 50,000, or I earn 100,000 or 300,000. Therefore, I can do this.
Yes.
No, we break you out because most people did not create wealth because of starting from where they were.
No.
So we tell you, you have 100,000 shillings, figure out how to make 25 million shillings.
Yes.
And a lot of people have formed groups and they are actually making that kind of
Exactly.
money. Because wealth creation is a way of thinking. So the guys you're seeing around you who have created wealth, they have just tapped to a different way of thinking, and that's what we do in the class. Yeah.
So I know, WACEKE has a lot of other units. There is the Centonomy Entrepreneur, there's what? If you do nothing else for yourself, do Centonomy 101. But I have two caveats.
Yeah.
I wish I had done it earlier. Remember that 25-year-old we all
we wanted
in our class? Because she was in college, you're looking at her like, because we would have done things so differently. If we knew then what we knew now.
But I think that's also why we structure the class, to first make you understand where you are, how money works, your mindset. Because by the time we come to the investment class, whether you're a 25-year-old, 35-year-old, 45-year-old, you will now understand. When we're now doing the investment section of the class, you will be like, okay, I'm 35, but I'm starting later. So these are the kind of investments I need to do. Well, the 25-year-old can start with saving in a relatively, maybe you're like, I need to move faster. The 45-year-old, the same thing. So by the time you come to the investment class, you've done a personal plan. So you're now, I know my situation. I've done the calculation, so I know, am I looking for 10% return, 15% return, 20% return?
Yes.
So when I'm listening to the experts who come and teach about investments, then I'm like, this is now what I actually need to do for me, not for everybody else. Nobody comes out of that class with the same plan.
No.
Because you have different goals, different situations in life.
Issues.
So the aim of this course is really you come out with your personal financial strategy and you have defined what wealth means to you.
But also, the other thing I found important and useful is when I saw couples in that class. Because I knew for a fact, people like talking about being an equally yoked. Let me tell you, if you're an equally yoked financially, one will make it, the other person will be like, I can't see why we can't do Dubai every 3 times a year. And not without knowing where that money will come from.
Let me tell you, the money and
I'm sorry for cutting short the conversation, but you can always feel free to follow it on our YouTube channel. I see it's already 6:01 East African time, and I can see our trainer, our lead trainer, and the CEO of Centonomy, Mr. Waithaka Gatumia, very ready to take cover from there. So allow me just welcome Mr. Waithaka to take it away. Karibu sana, Mr. Waithaka.
Good evening, Nancy. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I can see people in Thika, in Kisii. I can see others in Kitengela. I can see some in Mombasa, Kilimani, some in Bondo, some in Kitale, some in Kilifi, Egerton University. Nancy, you've done a good job getting all these people together. Well done, well done, well done. Good to see you all. And I really, really, really appreciate you all for taking, hey, Bomet, in fact, it's increasing. Kapenguria is even increasing. A good friend who's down on that side. Kiambu, excellent, excellent. Let us know where you are in the world. We do recognize that we do have people in different areas of the world and joining us in different places. Yes, as I said, immediately I said different areas of the world. Leslie just let us know that she's in Saudi. And so we have this community of people who, like yourself, are thinking deeply about how to generate wealth, how this thing called money works, and how to live life abundantly. That's what we're looking at. And so when I get into a room like this, I'm excited. Why? Because I recognize that there are people around the world who are thinking differently, who are thinking about their future, who are thinking about what they want to achieve, and that's why they're in this space. Wow, look at that. In fact, I just want to applaud you where you are right now, wherever you are in the world. I applaud you for taking the time to invest in yourself. And this is, look, I have to spend some time motivating you, but I also have to give you practical tools, because it's not just about being motivated. Go out and live abundantly. How? Let's talk about the how. Let's go out and conquer the world. How? Starting where? We need those tools. We need practical steps. We need action points that are going to get us to the goal that we have. And so when I see, like hundreds of people in this room, I know we've got many of them online as well, on YouTube. If you're streaming it on YouTube as well, well done for being in this session. We'll try and capture as much of the discussion for you as well. Get that interaction as far as the questions may come along. But I first of all wanted to applaud you, because you could have been in so many different places doing so many different things at this time. But you have chosen and said, I want to get better in my life. I want to grow wealth. I want to understand how this thing called money works. And that's what we want to begin learning today. And so this is as we've been offering it for quite a couple of years, it's the Centonomy 101 trial class. And I want us to get straight into it. We are not joking around. The work starts and it begins now. As always, the tools of the trade, and it doesn't matter whether you're just in this trial class or in the program as a whole, you need a pen and you need a notebook next to you so that you can be able to keep track of all the things that are coming through. There's a lot of information that's going to be coming your way, and we're going to be working on it together. Writing helps our memory systems work. And so when you put in that effort to write down some of the ideas and the practical choices that we're making, that's when it begins to hit home. So I hope you're ready. I can see quite a few people have responded even before I asked whether you're ready. People are saying, I'm very expectant. Somebody is saying, I'm ready. Asante, Lydia, thank you so much. Good. That's the attitude. And so when you come into a session like this, come with that mindset that I will learn something new. I'm going to grow. I'm going to build. In case we have never met before, my name is Waithaka Gatumia, and I serve here at Centonomy as CEO, but also as lead trainer in the programs that we have. And I love to talk about money. I love to talk about ways in which we can live abundantly, because it's not just money. Okay, so money is the tool that allows us to live our lives abundantly. That's it. All right. And the amount depends on what kind of life you want to have. And so we want to begin to think about whatever level you're at, how can we live abundantly? That is the aim of this session. So I hope you have your pen and paper next to you. And really, really happy that you've joined us and got into this place. It's really, really powerful. I'm always humbled. Wow, the room is almost full. hundreds of us in this session. I thank you so much. Very, very humbled by that. Now, I have to say this. We changed the format of the trial class simply to accommodate the numbers because I think we spoke in faith and we believed that people are going to come in the numbers that they have, and you have proved us correct. Our faith has been proved correct. We could not run the class in the same format on Zoom that we normally do for the class. Why? Because in that session, everyone has permission to have their cameras on, everyone has permission to have their microphone on so that it is as interactive as possible. But when you have hundreds of people in the room, it's very difficult to manage, not because we're indisciplined, but because simply we're living life. I'm sure some of you have got some children climbing all over around you. Some of you are in transport. You're trying to get home to get seated and get around a desk. And sometimes those noises and things come in and distract from the session. Hence, we use the webinar format on Zoom. But for the Centonomy 101 program, which starts next week, which all of you need to get into, we are going to be using the classroom format so we can see each other, talk to each other. Hey, in the middle of the discussion, many times people will just interrupt me and say, Waisaka, you spoke too quickly there. Could you say that again? I think differently on this, and we have a very interactive session. So bear with us in this session today, just simply for the managing of the numbers that are in the room. If we tried to do this, ladies and gentlemen, in a classroom format, it would be a bit of too difficult to manage. So for the sake of this session, bear with us as we go ahead. But I continue to applaud all those who are still joining in. Well done, right in the chat box where you're joining us from. We really appreciate where you're coming and that you've joined us in different places around the world. We are so grateful to have people here across Africa, even into the Middle East. So far, at least those are the places I've seen. There might be other people in different places. If I missed where you are in the world, I'm sure Nancy will bring it to my attention at some point, and we recognize you. So well done for showing up and showing up on time. I appreciate that. Now, our mission here at Centonomy is to shift mindsets so that purposeful people can create wealth and live abundantly. Now, originally it was just about personal financial freedom, but we've changed that because we've recognized it's not just the financial side, because we've discovered this, and I'm sure you can think of many people, well, maybe not many, but you can think of people who have wealth, who have money, but no joy, right? Give me a thumbs up if you know somebody like that. Like they have enough money for their family, but they're not happy. They're unsatisfied. You can think of people, yeah, I mean, that's what we're beginning to think about. There are those in this world who have wealth, but no abundance in their lives. And we recognize, what then, ladies and gentlemen, you tell me, what is the point of having all the money in the world but no joy? What's the point of that? And so when we come at this discussion, we always come at it from the perspective of abundance, that the cash, the money that we're talking about, the financial planning allows us to live abundantly. And I'm sure many of you can think about it like this. I don't think that you get excited that, ooh, okay, maybe you do a little bit. Maybe you do. Maybe you do get a little bit excited when you see a few extra zeros in your bank account. But the zeros in the bank account are not meaningful in and of themselves. It's that they mean you can do something else. That's what we are beginning to think about. Those extra zeros allow you to do something else. That's the abundant life that we're talking about. A life of impact, ladies and gentlemen. I know so many of you can think of a primary school that you came from, or a high school that you came from, or a church, or any other kind of institution that you're there, that you know if they just received a little bit more money, it could make a difference in people's lives. My wife and I just started working on a reading program in some of the underprivileged areas around our home, because, you know, start from your home, start from where you are. And the difference that could make in someone's life, that somebody before this experience, you know, was unable to read, but now they're able to read. Tell me that's not impact that you're talking about. That's the abundant life. And the abundant life is never just about you. It's not just about you going on holiday. Don't you want to go on holiday with someone else, with a friend, with your family? Isn't that what it's about? And so I start always with this discussion because guess what? There has to be something in front of us, ladies and gentlemen, that is driving us. You need to have that purpose. You need to have that direction. You need to have a goal in front of you, something to aim for. That's what it is. And so if you have that aim in mind, and please, you're not just aiming for one thing. There are many different aims in your life. You want to have security. You want to have a home. You want to have financial security, which means you have cash flow into your pocket. You want to send your children to good schools. You want to be able to drive a certain car. You want to travel around the world. Those are all different goals that are in front of you, but they're orienting you and they're saying, hey, in order for you to get into this place, you have to have a certain level of lifestyle or certain choices that are going to get you to that goal. It's not general, ladies and gentlemen. And so in the Centonomy 101 program, we're going to challenge you to, in this living abundantly mindset, we're going to challenge you, ladies and gentlemen, to set goals. Now, let me tell you this, goals change, but they won't change your orientation so much. Like, it's rare that you're going to see a person do a complete 180-degree change. No. It's usually a slight change. You thought the holiday to this one place was so amazing until you actually go there. And then suddenly you say, no, I'd like to go somewhere else. So you're just slightly orienting yourself towards that goal. As you get closer and closer to the university plans for your children, because I can see so many young people, hey, to all the youth who are in this room, I left you many years ago, youth has passed, hence the haircut that is being done at the moment. But for all the young people who are in this room right now, you're thinking, okay, I'd like to do this by the time I'm 30, or I'd like to do this by the time I'm 40. Yeah, then you get to 40 and then you're like, oh, you know what? What I thought then was, and you change your goal slightly, but what happens is the goal gives you something to work towards. One of my favorite speakers is an amazing psychologist from Canada, is a gentleman called Jordan Peterson, and he talks about the research that has been done, especially in the area of satisfaction in life, that people tend to get more satisfaction from the journey than simply the destination. Like, you know that you're heading there. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you can relate to this. You know that joy, the build up to going on a holiday. You know what I mean? Like, and you know you've been planning, you've been preparing, you're almost in that same space. That joy is sometimes even bigger than the actual holiday itself. You know what I mean? You've got into that. And so many times we derive a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose from the journey itself. And so even around your finances, set a goal, because now you begin to see that you're on a journey to send your child to the University of Nairobi or to send your child to the University of Cape Town. Whichever university that you're thinking about, that journey begins to, you begin to derive meaning from it. What do I mean by that? That journey and what you've set up begins to force you to act differently. And that second point here that you're going to do here, that you can see here on the side, is that goal begins to force you to think and say, hey, guess what? I need more money in my pocket today. And therefore, if I need more money in my pocket today, what actions get me to that goal? So you begin to start thinking, how do I become more valuable? If you remember, many of you at the open day that we had just a couple of weekends ago, and remember we talked about building value. Again, one of my favorite writers, Dr. Miles Monroe, speaking about it. Young people, anyway, but it's everybody, not just young people. Hey, to all my people on the 4th floor, if you're on the 4th, 5th, and 6th floor, you can give me a wave or just say yes in the chat box, because maybe, we know some of us have challenges with the technology. Just say yes. If you're on the 4th, 5th, 6th floor, those who are in the room, we are there with you as well. Don't worry. I mean, let me be a bit more clear. In our 40s, in our 50s, and in our 60s, because sometimes terminologies don't cross. Hey, I can see you all here in the room. And so for all of us, ladies and gentlemen, we are saying, how do you build value so money finds you? Dr. Miles Monroe said this, don't chase after money. No, no, no. Chase after value. And I'm paraphrasing him. He said, chase after value, because when you're valuable, money chases after you. And so when you come into the class, suddenly you'll become different, ladies and gentlemen, at your workplace. Let's just be honest. You'll be different in your workplace. Okay? I've just seen a message here from Nancy. Excuse me just for 1 second, right? As foreseen, you have filled the room completely. In case you get kicked out of the Zoom session, don't worry, we are streaming this live on our YouTube. And so in case you find yourself kicked out, because sometimes it happens, maybe network issues or anything like that, don't worry, don't worry. Just simply click on the link that is going to be shared. You'll try and get back into the room, but there's a link that is going to be shared that allows you to go to the YouTube channel. In case you don't see that link, just simply go to the Centonomy YouTube channel and you'll see in the live session, this is going live at the moment, okay? So fear not. I've just seen that message there. Fear not, even as we go. Let me get back to that issue of value. So when you begin to say, hey, guess what? I'd love to take my family on a holiday this weekend, or I'd love for us to build, I don't know, a new classroom in a school up country. What that does is it says, by the end of this year, I have to get this certain amount. Okay, I don't have that money today. So what actions am I going to take today that will allow me to get to that point? This is why goals and ambitions that are in front of us are so important. One of the central questions, and I want you to write it down in all caps in front of you on a piece of paper, is ask yourself this question, write it down. What do I want? And it sounds like a simple question, but it's not. Write it down. What do I want? And that may, as I said, may change over time, but at least for now, it begins to give you direction on the actions to take today. Because you need more cash in your pocket today, isn't it? And then finally, even as we begin to think about the abundant life and we begin to think, what does that mean for each one of us? It means that you need to build wealth for the future. So it's not just about today. So this is the tension in which we live. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The tension in which we live is that we must live abundantly today, but we also must live abundantly in future. And it is a tension, and it's a balancing act. And one of the things that you're going to learn in Centonomy 101 is about that balance. Because we never just talk about one. You see, let me talk openly here. Let me stop trying to be politically correct. You see, when you try and go into gambling or to the lottery, and you go into that, what you're doing is you're trying to live as much today, taking absolute risk for your future. That's what you're saying. I'm willing to throw away all my money today for the chance to live abundantly today. That's what gambling is. And for many people, ladies and gentlemen, think about it. How many people gamble or go into those lotteries? Millions, isn't it? How many people win? 2 or 3. So is that really worth it? And so in the class, this is how we're going to find. We're going to find a balance. And it's work, ladies and gentlemen. It is work, but I know you can achieve it. It's a balance of saying, how do I live abundantly today without compromising my future? Also, and let me talk to all my savers in the house, 52-week savings challenge, all the people who've been saving in circles since they were born, they're in this room. I know you're there. Savers, I can see you there. Some of you have prioritized the future so much that you're saving about the future that you're not living abundantly today. Now, let me tell you this. The future is not guaranteed, neither is the present. So we have to find a balance. Because I hear all the people saying YOLO. The YOLO people are you only live once, right? You only live once, so live big today. Yeah, but you might wake up tomorrow. Or you might wake up in the next 10 years. Or you might wake up in the next 30 years. What will you have done to prepare for that? So in the class, we advocate for a balanced approach. And I'll explain that in more detail as we go. So ladies and gentlemen, I want you to come into this class with the mindset that we are to live abundantly. If you were watching that video just a couple of minutes ago where WACEKE was speaking to Caroline Mutoko, WACEKE NDUATI, our founder, and Caroline Mutoko was talking about it from that perspective, was saying, I didn't want to reduce my lifestyle. So I wanted to find out, how can I continue to live my lifestyle and still save for my children's education? Those are the type of tough questions that we're going to be answering. But I know when I ask a tough question like that, don't worry, I know that you're able. How do I know this? Because you are unique, you are valuable, you are capable, and you're worthy of the dreams in your heart. Most of all, ladies and gentlemen, you have what it takes to transform and transcend whatever challenges face you. It's in you. And if you watch any of those testimonial videos on our YouTube channel, or the ones that you were seeing before, people begin to recognize, it's in me. Hey, the ability to get out of debt is in me. The ability for me to earn more money is in me. The ability for me to have creative ideas that cause growth in my life is in me. The ability to walk into an investment company and put down some money is in me. And that's what you're in this place for. So I want to be very clear, ladies and gentlemen, because sometimes people think we're joking around. Like, this thing is not easy. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it. But it is so rewarding that many of you are going to take the steps that will get you out of a cycle of debt, generational debt. We've seen it over and over. I have a dear friend of mine in Switzerland. She's given her testimonial. You can find it even on our YouTube channel. She was talking about generational debt. She came into the class, and within 1 year, she was out of debt completely. And now she was at the point she prioritized getting out of debt, and now she was rethinking and reworking her plan towards the investment strategy that she has. Where will you be at the end of 2024? For so many of you who are going to make the choice to be in this class, starting next week, ladies and gentlemen, you can be in a completely different place. I challenge you to be in a completely different place like this, to have gone on holiday without debt, without stress, with your friend. Do you see what I'm talking about? It sets you on a path for growth. So I've been talking a lot. I need your help, ladies and gentlemen. If I were to ask you to define wealth in the chat box, as many responses as possible, just type in the chat box, what do you think wealth is? Wealth to you is what? Type in the chat box. Quick. What's wealth? What's wealth? I've been talking about wealth. What is wealth to you? I may have even given, I shouldn't have put that image there because now it begins to skew the discussion. But anyway, let's use the chat box and type in, what is wealth? The abundance of money. I like that, Moses. You are an honest person. Thank you. The abundance of money, financial freedom. Good. I like that, Lillian. Wealth is health. I knew that was coming. Not having to check the price tag. I love that. Comfort. There are some of the malls. I don't know if you've ever been to some of these malls and you go to a shop where they don't even have price tags. Essentially, what they're telling you comfort is, if you have to ask, you can't afford. Yeah. I was very amazed here in Nairobi at Sarit Center. There's a shop I went into. I was just browsing, and I went into this shop. It has shirts and things like that. I lifted the price tag for the shirt, and even the price tag itself was heavy. A shirt like this one that I'm wearing going for $2,000. I said, that's good life, isn't it? Yes. When you think of wealth, think of being comfortable, freedom of time, financial stability. Look at that. That's what people are thinking about. And I'm not saying that any of these responses are wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, look, if we start having a discussion about wealth, and who was it who said wealth is health? Grace said wealth is health, and somebody else is thinking not having to take the price tag. Joy is thinking peace of mind. Someone else is thinking security. Grace is thinking, somebody else is thinking holistic approach. Caroline is thinking peace. We can't have a meaningful discussion. Okay. So I'm going to try and define wealth so that we can work around it, and we'll have a deeper discussion about this next week in the module 1 as we get started. But I want us to have this definition in our mind even as we move forward so that you begin to see how we are thinking. Okay. So, there we go. So at Centonomy, we define wealth as the ability to live the lifestyle that you want without having to work. Okay. Now, that's a problematic statement. So can we break it down a little bit? Well done. Thank you for everybody who's been responding. Look at that. Liquidity, holistic. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Satisfaction in life. Wealth is absolute comfort. I must say this. Comfort isn't everything. That's been my experience. Comfort is a good thing, but many of us, when we are comfortable for too long, we look for something difficult to challenge us, to keep moving. Although comfort is a good thing. I love it, Faith. I love it. I love it. So let's look at this. So write this definition down. We'll start talking about it in more detail next week. Wealth is the ability to live the lifestyle that you want without having to work. Okay, so let's break that down. So first of all, we have to define the lifestyle that we want. Hence that question that I asked you to write on a piece of paper. What do you want? Now, we'll help you to break it down because it's such a broad question. But where do you want your child to go to school? What kind of house do you want to live in? Be specific. Have a goal. That's what I'm talking about. Have a purpose that you're driving towards, because that'll give you an aim that will encourage you to work harder and to move in that direction. So what do you want? That's what's going to drive you. What do you want? And the second half of that statement, which I think is really important for our discussion today, is that without having to work. Now, please don't get me wrong. Please don't go and quote me somewhere. I've heard people quoting and saying at Centonomy, they say you don't have to work. You just have, no. Please, let's get the language correct, okay? It is without having to work, okay? That means that you have worked so hard and built up such wealth that your assets that you have built start paying you enough to live. That's what we're discussing here. Caroline, I don't know about the joy that you're talking about. It should be giving you stress. I want you to be stressed, Caroline, because you've said, I want you to be working so hard now so that at some point you don't have to work, especially in retirement. Shout out to my 40s, 50s, and 60s in the room. I want you to be stressed because I wanted to challenge you to say, hey, what can I do today so that my future is safe and I'm able to benefit from the work that I've done? That's what we are doing here. So ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's a beautiful statement. It's to inspire you, but it should also say, hey, come on. That's what we are aiming for. So that we have assets that pay us, not just plots all over the world. To my Kenyan brothers and sisters, because I know we have people from around the world. Kenyans, Africans, just having pieces of land here, there, everywhere. What strategy do you have with that piece of land? Because that land cannot feed you. Especially for, this thing, our strategy around land, buying land, anytime there's land, you're buying it. A small piece of land, you've never even seen it. In fact, can I just do my quick test? This is the one that usually I get in trouble for, but I'll see. In this room, because we are so many, this one I can't fail in this room. We're too many. For sure, there is someone in this room who has bought a piece of land you have never seen. Please tell me. Hands up. You bought a piece of land you have never seen. Say yes in the chat box. Let's be honest with one another. So we didn't have a strategy. It's just somebody said there's land, go buy it. That's it. We have no strategy. And so when you see, I knew they're in this room, please don't worry. Don't be afraid. You're not alone. That's why you're going to come into the module on real estate, and you'll be working with a real estate agent. She's also a land economist who'll be assisting you to have a strategy. Because I don't want you, ladies and gentlemen, to retire at some point and just have land here, there, everywhere, and wonder how you're going to buy your bread for that day. That's what I'm talking about. I want you to have actual assets that are going to put money in your pocket, cash flow. If you've ever read any book by Robert Kiyosaki, such as Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he got that principle right. That idea of cash flow. When people talk about financial freedom, that's what they're talking about. There's cash flow. You don't want to be asset rich and cash poor. That's what I'm talking about. So now, not the American Rich Dad Poor process. We're going to be talking about how do we have a strategy, ladies and gentlemen, that begins to put money in our pocket over time. That's what we're aiming for. And so please come along for that journey. That's what I mean, that without having to work. But please bear witness with me. I'm not sure if this makes sense to you. Bear witness with me, please, 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 if you don't mind. Think about like really wealthy people that you know. Maybe you've seen them on TV, maybe they're in your family, maybe they're, you know, just really wealthy, like really successful people. Okay? Majority of those people, tell me in the chat box, yes or no. Majority of those people just sit at home and do nothing, right? Really wealthy people, they just sit and do, see, they have all the wealth to do nothing. Do they actually do that? Majority of the wealthy people sit at home and do nothing. No. No. In fact, I mean, I'm always struck by billionaires, right, who risk everything to start again. I think I saw somebody write Elon Musk, but let's even talk about locally here. Think about your James Mwangis. Think about the founders of different companies. And those are guys who wake up. These are not shilling billionaires. These are dollar billionaires. You know? And they wake up at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, because they have purpose. So it's no longer just about the money that you have, but they have something that's driving them. And those who are driven to that level find the success that they want. And you're one of them. How do I know this? Because on a random Thursday evening, instead of being out with your friends, instead of being out somewhere doing nothing, just sitting in front of a TV and doing nothing, you're busy thinking, what's next? I know that. So let's get practical about it. Ladies and gentlemen, how do we secure the future? Can we have a practical discussion about this? Okay. So let's kind of get into an example of what it's like to be in the 101 class. Hey, if you have a calculator, this is going to be very helpful to me because sometimes you're faster with the calculation than I am. So if you have a calculator, please have it open next to you so that we can start doing the work in this place. I want to give you an example of what we mean and how we begin to put together a plan rather than just mindset or good. No, a plan. Be purposeful in what we're doing here. So let's put together a plan. So I know every time I ask this question, I have to remember that I'm speaking to so many different people. So bear with me on this one, okay, if you don't mind. But I'm not going to ask the question. I'm going to give you, from my experiences, the responses that I want, right? So usually when I ask the question, how much would you like to be earning on a daily basis? People give me every kind of answer, you know, millions of shillings, hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars, okay? So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you the practical way to go forward. Why am I going to do this way, right? So many of you many of us, I shouldn't say you, because I'm a human being just like you. When we see a private jet, you know, and we see a mansion, and we see that car, we get excited by it. And so when I ask the question, what do you want? Many of us would answer, I'd like that. Yeah, because it's nice. I'm not saying it's not good. But we don't really, do you really want that? Because if you really want that, then you want the responsibility. If you own a private jet, first of all, just having the cash to maintain it, you know, to hire a pilot to be flying you, you know what I'm saying? All those issues. So when we talk about financial freedom, yes, that's the image. That's the Instagram, isn't it? The Instagram image of what wealth is. But for many of us, I don't know how many of you can relate to this. I just want to know that I'm good tomorrow. I'm living in a nice place, but I'm good tomorrow. I have cash to drive around. I have cash to have impact in my community. It's not so much about the private jet, but it's about I'm good tomorrow. Yeah, that's about where we are, right? I'm not sure if that resonates with people. I'm not too worried about the flashy life. Now, for those who want the flashy life, no problem. And in this class, we never come and say you can't achieve those things. Please go for them. But understand the cost. Because when I talk to young people, I need you to understand this. Young people say, I want to be a billionaire. Are you willing to do what those billionaires do? 100-hour weeks. You're in charge of thousands, tens of thousands of employees. And if the business is not going well, do you have the stomach to fire 10,000 employees and know that they don't know where their next meal is going to come from? So we want the flashy side of it, but we don't want the responsibility side. You get what I'm talking about? Yeah. So for you, if that is you, because I know some of you are built like that, go for it. And we'll never discourage you from doing that. But for the rest of us, and for the sake of this discussion, I think we just want to know we're good for tomorrow, isn't it? We want to have a picture of that. We're not stressed about what's coming next. We know that if there's an emergency, we're able to support our family. If there's a health issue, we have cash to support that. If there's, you know what I mean? If you want to go on holiday, it's not something that's completely out of the me. If you want your child to go to university, it's not. That's what we're talking about. So let's do that together, right? Let's do that now. So I want to give you a picture of what this means, okay? So let's say, I won't put anyone's name, I'll put my own name there. So let's say Waithaka. Waithaka, okay? Today, he earns Kenya shillings, 100,000, which is, look, me, I'm still in the, you can see how old I am. I'm still in the days when the US dollar was about 100 shillings. Oh my goodness. Now it is, whew. Hence we need to do some work in this financial work, isn't it? Yes, per month, okay? And essentially, if we were to look at wealth, remember we said wealth is the ability to live the lifestyle that you want without having to work. So if I had assets that were paying me 100,000 shillings per month, then I could live my lifestyle, isn't it? Doesn't that sound like a good thing? If I had assets, isn't it? That's what I'm talking about, right? Okay. So in the chat box, just tell me, you've been imagining and you are thinking, one day I'll have this type of assets that will pay me to live my life, right? That's what you are imagining, right? So in the chat box, which assets were you imagining? One day I'll have these assets and they will pay me and I will live. In the chat, quick. Which ones were you imagining? Now, Jacqueline, please, let's keep together. Let's be together. We said plots don't put money in your pocket. Do you remember we said that? Unless you are in, so let me not assume on your behalf, Jacqueline. Maybe I've assumed. I apologize if I have. Unless you are in a plot selling business. You know, like you open your own plot selling business. Maybe that. But I'm seeing people have said rentals. Mercy was with you at the same way. If you are selling them, not just owning them, because owning them, they don't do anything. It's just a piece of land that probably you have never seen, right? So we want to think what actually you put money in your pocket. And as predicted, the very first question the very first response was rental real estate. rentals, right? So rental, real estate, okay? So here's how we begin to become practical, ladies and gentlemen, because it's now, let's stop hoping and imagining, let's start planning. So this is how we begin to plan. So let's think about it that way. And I know there's so many responses. Thank you so much. People have said businesses, cows, and we're going to talk about each one of them, right? I've seen bonds somewhere there. Business, very good. For all those who have said agriculture, I want to give you a warning. Because many people think that if I had a farm and I'm growing food and I have some animals, I'm growing, you know, I can feed myself. That's okay. But I want you to think about this, ladies, and especially those who said agriculture. How many of you, in fact, who said agriculture, have relatives who live up country? They're probably on a farm, but they still call you and ask for money. Why? Because in as much as you might be able to feed yourself, there's food, but you need to go to the supermarket to buy some things that you can't grow on your own farm. You need to be able to travel. You need to be able to pay school fees. You need to be able to take care of health issues. And those all require money. Now, the agriculture needs to be business-based, not simply just subsistence farming. I just wanted to say that there. Because many of us have that mindset that I'll go up country and I'll be fine. But think about it, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you have relatives who call you and they live on a farm that grows food? I'm sure you can think of one. So where is the issue? I want us to think that deep. So I want to use this as an example, rental real estate, okay? So this is how we begin to work, okay? Work through the issues. Yes, Isaac, I'm challenging you to think differently. So, rental real estate. I expect, that's why I said, Bernice, that you want to have commercial farming, because then there's a cash flow issue there. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Love it. Now, do you see people are thinking differently when you come into a session like this? I want us to think differently that way. Okay, good. So rental real estate. So if I had properties that were paying me 100,000 shillings every month, I would be financially free, isn't it? At my current status. Okay, that's essentially a good picture, a good measure of where you are. Now, if you want to play around with this as well, you can use your numbers. You can use your numbers on a piece of paper, whatever you're earning right now, and you can begin to see how we think and how we begin to plan around this. When you come into the class, you begin to see that on average, actually, I should ask you, average rental returns, annual rental return rates especially, I know majority of us are in Kenya. It depends where you are in the world, but it's also not so different, at least from my experience in the different jurisdictions, but you can find what the average is. Anyone know what the average rental return annual is in percentage? About 5. Well done, Kennedy, yeah? So people have been listening to the videos I've been doing. Good. 5%, okay? So this is how to begin to think about it. Good, yes. This is how to think about it, right? You have to then begin to think, what are my annual needs, ladies and gentlemen? Annual needs means 100,000 per month. There are 12 months in a year. So my annual needs then are, and doesn't matter what currency you're doing this in, doesn't matter. I want you to just follow along the logic that we're doing here, okay? So my annual needs would be check my mathematics, 1.2 million per year, yes? All right, that's what 100,000 per month means 1.2 million per year today, right? I hope that math is clear. Okay. So if Kennedy, Naomi, and Nick, who have all agreed with me that the rental return is about 5% per year. Isaac has even gone further and said 4.8 to 7.2, 4.8 more towards the residential, 7.2 going towards commercial. Excellent, good. And you get better information than me in the class on real estate, because the lady who teaches, she's not just here to train. This is her business. Okay? This is her business. So she talks about it from different places. Okay? So this is how we talk about. Don't be lost, Chelsea. Don't worry. Don't worry. I want to earn 100,000 shillings per month. Okay? So if I want 100,000 shillings per month, what's that annually, Chelsea? Don't worry, we're together. 100,000 shillings per month is 1.2 million per year. So if I earn 100,000 shillings per month, that's 1.2 million shillings per year. I hope we're together till there. So let's begin to see. I've not even gotten to the results, Chelsea. Don't worry, you're not lost. You're not lost. Let's be together. So if I invested in rental real estate alone, so listen to what I said, to rental real estate alone, that is earning me about 5% per year. Per year, watch this now. That means 5% per year should be equal to how much I need per year. Equals to 1.2 million in my case. That's what I've said. I want to be financially free, so my rental should pay me how much I want. I want 100,000 per month or 1.2 million per year. Now we have understood that rentals pay about 5% per year, isn't it? So 5% should be equal to my 1.2 million. Okay? Yeah. This is assuming I just want my assets to pay me. That's what I want. So we can do some calculations around that. That's excellent, Olive. You have asked a very good question. So let's work a bit further than that. So if I should have put this here, maybe that's what it is. 5% of the value of the property. Maybe that's what was getting us a bit lost, isn't it? So the annual returns for rentals, about 5% of the value of the property. Maybe that's what was. I apologize, Chelsea, if I lost you from that perspective. I hope we're together now. So then if we know 5% is how much I need, and I'll put the number there, then what is the value, the total value of that property? What is the total value of that property? What is the total value? What is the total value? So we do simple cross multiplication, isn't it? Now, you see, when we have a group like this, where we have mathematicians in the room like Ulsa, hopefully I'm pronouncing correctly, or Isaac, you guys are ahead. Don't worry, slow down for our sake. For the guys who just, we need to use our calculators and do the work that we're doing here. Let's begin to think about it this way. The mathematicians have gone ahead of us. For those of you who are wondering, let's talk about it this way. So it means you take your 100%, right? You divide it by 5%. What do you get in the chat box if you divide 100% by 5%? 20, and you multiply that now by 1.2 million, and it gives you what everybody else in the room here, thank you so much, to all the Elizabeth, Mercy, Evelyn, Isaac, also, thank you so much, gives you 24 million. Now we are talking. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? Let's be clear and be purposeful about this. It means that if, listen carefully, if I had rental properties, ladies and gentlemen, valued at about 24 million, not billion, where then it's not billion, 24 million shillings, on average, they should pay me about 1.2 million per year, or where we started, 100,000 shillings per month. Today. And this is evidence. I can see it. I'm telling you, if you go around different areas within Nairobi, you're going to find that a 24 million property, right, an apartment or a house, you're going to be paying rent of about 120,000 or so, correct? 120, 130,000. So you're wondering, why is it 100,000? Because out of that 120, 130,000, you have to pay tax on it. Okay. You have to maintain that property, and hopefully you have to put aside some cash that you'll be able to repay the deposit or any other issues that come along the side. So the actual cash that goes into your pocket is about 100,000. If you have tenants. Isaac has asked a very good question, which I pray you're going to ask in which module is it, in fact, that you're going to do property, real estate. The module on real estate is which one now? It is, real estate is module 6. Okay? That's what we're talking about. Okay? So in that class, you'll be able to ask somebody who is better at real estate than me. However, there is, I will say it definitely here, there is a benefit to having multiple units. Now, have I returned? Did it? Yes, good. You are seeing the modules. Good, good, good. So I'm going to go back to our discussion here. Now, the number of units, definitely if you have more, what you're doing is mitigating against the risk of tenancy. Okay, the risk of whether the person is there or not. You see, if you only have one, tenant and they're not there, then you don't have any income. But if you have, let's say you have 10 units that are each 2.4 million, even if 2 or 3 of them are empty, at least there's some cash flow. Are we together? So come to that class. Make sure you ask those questions when we're there. Hey, people are fast in this session. You guys are so fast. So quick. Now, where did it go? Okay, good. So here we are. If I had rental properties today worth 24 million shillings, they would be able to pay me about 100,000 shillings per month. And if that's all I need to sustain my life, I'm good. Oh, what if it was not 100,000, but 1 million? Then you do times 10, isn't it? 240 million. Are we together? So at whatever level you are, you can begin to see, what does financial freedom look like to me? And it stops being a general thing. I just want money. From where? First of all, let me just explain. Your pension will not be enough. We did this class a couple of years ago, and we had a lady who came into the graduation session, and she said, last year I was 60, this year I'm 61, I'm now retired. Last year I was earning over 200,000 shillings per month. This year now I am taking home 30,000 shillings, ladies and gentlemen, in my pension. And she's better than others who didn't even have the pension fund that she has. So can I please explain, ladies and gentlemen, can I please explain? Your pension is not good. You need to have a strategy. I love you see, when you put numbers up on a screen like this and have a real discussion about money, then the real questions begin to come. Dennis is asking, also, we need to factor in inflation. Does 5% factor in inflation? Yes, it does. Let me tell you why. And this is the important thing, the difference between other investments and real estate. One of the biggest benefits of real estate is that this is the 5%. Can I just highlight it so that you can see it? Let me highlight it so that we are together. This 5% here, okay, only factors the cash flow. Remember, this property that we are seeing down here, every year, by the grace of God, will appreciate in value. And so as it appreciates in value, have you noticed that's why landlords then charge more? So the 5% is the cash flow that it produces. But the property itself, because of inflation, increases in value. If you maintain it, obviously. Come on, guys. We have to be real, isn't it? Jenga, we have to be real. Dennis, we have to be real. Okay? So we have to be able to look at that. Okay? Now, Beth, you're asking even more detail. I told you that's why we put this up here, and that's what the class is for. Because in this session, I don't have the time. You will come and talk for 2.5 hours plus on the issue of real estate, so that you get the details on what we're talking about. Like in any business, Beth, let me respond to you. What the highest price you can possibly sell to a client. If you see, you can put the price for the rental property at whatever number you want, but will anyone want to pay you? No. So that's the issue of market forces, Beth, and we'll do that. Okay. Obviously, Fidelis, the cost of maintenance eats into your monthly cash flows. Who is maintaining the property? You are the owner. Love it. I have to move the discussion. Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on. Now, I want you to see what the benefit of coming into a financial class like this would be, because now you begin to be exposed to newer forms or different forms of investments that you may not have been exposed to before. Can we have a look at what that looks like? This is what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. I saw somebody there write government bonds. Now, let's begin to think about it this way. So government bonds. Okay? Government bonds. Let us assume in the example, the first one, you only invested in real estate, okay? But now, ladies and gentlemen, you're only going to invest in government bonds, okay? What would that look like, Caroline? We're about to see. Okay, so here we go. So in government bonds, you guys have been paying attention and you've been seeing in the news and you've been watching and seeing all the different things, correct? What has the average rate of return, annual rate of return of government bonds been? What has it been, guys, in the chat box? Because you've been paying attention. Good. So you've seen 16%, right? Okay. Yes. Someone has even seen 17 recently. So they are increasing rates for various reasons. We're not going to get into that. Okay, it has grown, correct? Let's not even go as high as the top end. Let's assume it was nearly around 13%. Okay. Praise the Lord if you find one that is 17%. Okay. Well done from last year. Thank you. I can see people are saying there different numbers. Let's even assume 13% per year. Okay. So we do the same calculation and begin to think differently about how our strategy is going to be. Okay. So here we go. So we would say 13% is equals to our annual needs. Why is it not giving me that? Our annual needs. What did we say in the chat box? Our annual needs are, in my example, Waithaka's current annual needs. It was how much? 100K per month or 1.2 million per year. Annual needs, 1.2 million. Good. So we do the same calculation. Now we ask, how much in total we needed to put into this bond that's giving you 13% in order for you to be paid cash flow of 1.2 million a year. How much? How much? We do the same calculation, guys. Get out your calculators. Let's see who's going to get it fastest. 100%. Now not divide by 5, but divide by 13%. Come on. Kilosh, you can't be that fast. You can't be that fast. Okay? And then you multiply by 1.2. I had not even finished asking the question. There was already an answer in the chat box. So guys, let's do that together. Let's make sure that our maths is correct. 100 divided by 13, right? Multiplied by 1.2 million. Excellent. So, Kenya shillings, 9230 769. Okay. All right. What does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? What does this mean? It means that if today you had 9.2 million shillings and you put it into a government bond that was giving you an annual return of 13% per year, that bond would pay out to you cash of 1.2 million per year, which is the same as 100,000 shillings per month, the lifestyle that Waithaka wanted. So in the first example, to live the lifestyle that I want, I need 24 million. But in this example here, to live the same lifestyle, all I need is 9.2 million. So what does that mean for you? So when you come into the class and we're having a real plan for our finances, we begin to say this. For Waithaka's financial plan, this is how you would look at it. You would say, Waithaka, aim to have assets worth between Kenya shillings. Yeah, where did it go? Kenya shillings, 9.2 million. And Kenya shillings, I don't want that. Kenya shillings, 24 million. Now we have a target. Now we are no longer just talking, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're not just talking. And then, because now we have numbers in front of us, it begins to force you to think differently and to take specific actions that are going to get you to those numbers. So now you begin to think, and this is the key. Look at what I love. You see, the moment you put numbers on a screen and we begin to have a real discussion about our wealth creation journey, and I'm telling you, this is what happens in the class. You begin to open up a discussion that is very clear, because some of you have begun to realize, look at this. Okay. So here's the thing. And there's an entire 2.5-hour class on government bonds so you understand them fully. So now you're going to be in between and be able to say, okay, in real estate, remember this was the initial investment, okay? So the investment that you had was 24 million. So in this case, it's 9.2 million. Now, listen to what I'm saying. In government bonds, they are not compounding investments. That means that if you put in 9.2 million, it doesn't grow. Whereas, if you had this property of 24 million next year, depending on which area it's in, it will be worth maybe 25 million. But in government bonds, this remains exactly the same. So now it's not just as simple as 9.2 million. Now, because you are a sophisticated investor, you're going to begin to say, okay, it is not going to multiply. It's not going to compound in and of itself. So I'm not going to put everything. I'm going to split. Remember, we talked about balance as a key to our strategy, ladies and gentlemen. So you're going to say, I'm going to have some real estate because the value of the property is going, but I'm also going to have some bonds. Why? Because government bonds, I don't need to chase any tenants. I don't have to chase them. I don't have to ask. Every 6 months, you just see a message on your phone, the cash is in your account. And so you also begin to think, okay, if this 9.2 is not going to be compounding, then maybe I need a little bit more than the 9.2 so that if I want to account for inflation, like the wise people in this room are talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, this thing is not a joke. We are here to learn and to begin to grow. And here's what I want us to see. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand that we live in the world, this world. I don't know which other world you live in, but in this world, ladies and gentlemen, Nothing is 100%. Good. So I am a farmer. If I plant my maize, there could be a flood, there could be a famine, there could be what? Lightning, and there could be a fire. I could plant, there could be disease in that plot. I could plant and the neighbors come and steal it all. So I'm a farmer. As a farmer in the chat box, I should not plant my maize, correct? Yes? As a farmer, I should just sit because there's... I sit and do nothing, yes? No, you have just told me. That's what you're telling me. Let's get back to my hard work over here. Let's get back to it. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you secure your future? By investing today. Is there a guarantee that every investment that you're going to make is going to be successful? No. But can I guarantee you one thing? Let me give you one guarantee. This is the one guarantee that every investment analyst is going to help you. All right? He's going to tell you, guaranteed, if you don't invest, you will not get a return. Guaranteed. Just like that farmer, if he does not plant, guaranteed there will not be a harvest. So we have to take the risk. You have to invest. That's what you have to do. We don't have a choice. Guys, when I put these investments in front of us, that's what I'm trying. Yes, there are many different kinds of investments, and I know we're going to get questions on all of them differently. But the key part is this: you have to invest. Now, do some have a higher risk profile than others? Yes. But also, that risk also comes with a potentially higher rate of return. And so in the same attitude of balance, I have to speak to you because there are those people who are saying, I can't invest. No. Me, I just want to save my money. No problem. Save your money. Listen to what I'm saying. Saving protects your present. So you find that a lot of people who save a lot of money, in an emergency today, they have some cash to deal with it. Brilliant. Wonderful. But remember where you're saving your money, you're earning maybe 5-6%, for example, and the inflation is at 8%. So over the long term, those who are just saving, all you're doing is taking care of today. In future, you will struggle. Now, those of you who also are just investors, Forex, Bitcoin, what, you're putting money into the future, but you're not saving any money today. Your future might be okay, but if anything shock were to happen today in your present, things can disappear. And so at Centonomy, we advocate for a balanced approach. We're going to challenge you to save, yes, but we're also going to challenge you to invest, yes. What does that mean? Saving is low risk, keeping cash near cash so that you can, in case there's an emergency, you have some money. But that can't be the only thing you're doing. You also have to be putting your money where it's going to grow and compound and multiply over time. And if you don't do that, you'll find yourself in future wondering, okay, how do we handle inflation? And that's why we come to our second module. And this one is what you found Caroline Mutoko and WACEKE NDUATI speaking about as you came in. This concept of time value of money. I'm going to give you a short illustration of what I mean so that you begin to understand what we're discussing here. Because remember, the example I gave you was that I need 100,000 shillings today. But I'm just in my early 40s. I have to say, hey, I'm in my early 40s. This year I'll be 43. Okay? Here's what I'm saying, and I'm going to respond to you. Mercy, here's the thing. Saving, the attitude of a saver is you don't want risk. You want security and access. The attitude of an investor is you want growth. You want a rate of return. That's the clear difference. And because now you have been in this class of abundance mindset, you must be both. You must save and have investments. And we're going to talk about a savings goal, especially for emergencies. We'll talk about how do you prepare yourself for an emergency so you save sufficiently. But we're also going to say, how do you invest so that you have the future that you're talking about? And so, Mercy, listen to me. Listen to me. I said 100,000 shillings today. But I'm not retiring today, Mercy, am I? I'm only 42. So I have maybe 18 years by the grace of God before I retire. So if I will need the value of 100,000 18 years from now. And in 18 years, bread will not cost the same as it does today. So how much will I need to live the same lifestyle 18 years from now? Can we figure that out together? This is what we call time value of money. So it's really taking into account the compounding effect, ladies and gentlemen, of inflation. So, not chat. I didn't want to chat. I wanted to share my screen. Let's go back to the whiteboard. So let's do one more calculation. Let's do one more calculation. I don't have the time to take you through this. We'll have a whole session. My favorite class is Module 2, Time Value of Money. We spent 2.5 hours understanding this, and it's going to be the best maths class you have ever been to. Why? Because in this maths class, the teacher does not want you to give the answer. In fact, I want to give you the answers. It's just so that you understand the process. So we're not testing your mathematical ability. We want to give you the answer so that you can make financial decisions. So Kenya shillings, 100,000 shillings, 100,000 in 2024. What is the same? What will it be in 20 years from now, 2044? 20 years. We apply compounding and a process called time value of money. This is what happens. We give you tools. We give you tools as well in this program. So you can do some of the calculations yourself, but we will help you with the calculations you need to do for yourself. So we're not abandoning you. We're going to give you these tools so that you can begin to use them. Can I show you what those tools look like? So we'll be sharing tables. We'll be sharing all the things that are required and show you how to use them so you're not left alone. So we're going to share these tables and other calculators that help you go along so that you can do the calculation. So you say future value of this amount. How much is inflation today here in Kenya? Somebody type in the chat box. Very quickly, or whichever country you're in, what is the inflation rate? We're just going to use your inflation rate. Quick. 8%. Good. 8. And we're going to go for 20 years. This is how you do it. So 8% here at the top, 20 years at the bottom. Where I got a bit lost there. 8% is where we are. 20 years is down here, 4.66. Good. So in the class, we'll explain how we got that table, where it comes from, how compounding works. Don't worry, we'll have enough time, and we take time to go through it. But also those of you who are not too bothered with the maths, we just give you the tools so that you can get the answer. It's good to understand why before you make the choices. So here's what you'd say. You'd say that 100,000 multiplied by 4.66 to know what it will be needed in future. It will be Kenya shillings, 466,000 per month. So ladies and gentlemen, now this is the power of time value of money. This is the power of time value of money. Listen to what we are saying. Thanks, Olive, in different places. So you can apply, you see, with the tool that I gave you there, the tables that we give you and the calculators that we give you, if you're in France, you'll apply a 4% inflation rate. If you're in Kenya, you'll do an 8.5%. If you're wherever you are in the world, you'll put in your current rate for your area so that you know for yourself what to plan for. Okay? So here's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. If I need 100,000 shillings today to live my lifestyle the way I am, it will not Because bread will not, because of inflation, bread will not cost the same in the next 20 years. How much will I need per month in 20 years to live the same lifestyle as 100,000 shillings today? In the chat box, how much will I need? I want to make sure that we're getting the point across. To live the same lifestyle per month of 100,000 shillings today, because of inflation, how much will I need 20 years from now? Come on. 466. So my investment strategy is not just for 100 today, but 466 in 20 years. And a little bit more after that, and a little bit more after that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are working in this session. It's not, please, I want to dissuade you. Those of you who are thinking this is get rich quick, there's a secret, something somewhere that we're going to put in and then move. That's not what we are. But, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. Listen to me. The power of inflation is its compounding effect. Can you guess what else has a compounding growth? I've talked about it enough in the chat box. What else also compounds over time? Investing. And so because of that, in the class, we are going to say, so your target is this amount in 20 years. We work backwards and say, which investments are we going to be putting small amounts? And let me tell you, you're going to be very disturbed by the amount of cash that you need to be investing, because you're probably eating it for lunch or using it on something that you didn't even know. But that small amount regularly invested consistently over time will achieve the goal that you want. That's it. And you're going to come into the class, and I love that people are using different investment classes or different investment names. Somebody says money market. You come into the class, ladies and gentlemen, and begin to understand the value of a money market fund. And you're going to be very quickly dissuaded from the thought that money market is investment. No, money market is saving. So it's a wonderful tool for saving. But when you come to investment, our primary concern is the compounded result, where you're getting a higher rate of return. And that's what we're talking about. And so we begin to answer the question, where I am with the money that I have today, which investment works for me? And if I don't have enough money, what do I do to grow that wealth? Because we're going to make you uncomfortable. Ladies and gentlemen, in module 1, next week, we're going to challenge you and to say, hey, you're probably not earning enough money. What could you do to earn more? And we'll give you tools and give you strategies on how to earn more. But it's going to require more of you, but it's because you have the ability that we're able to have this discussion. The time value of money, don't miss out. And here's the beautiful thing. A gentleman called Pablo Picasso once said, action is the foundation key to success. And so we're not just going to have this discussion, but begin to see what actions do we take, ladies and gentlemen, to achieve the goals that we want. So the actions that you're going to take, and each one of you is going to make those choices day in, day out. This is not something that just happens in 1 week, in 2 weeks. This is a lifetime of adventure, ladies and gentlemen. A lifetime filled with adventure, because we're moving towards our goals. We're moving, and as we get to the goal, we find another one. And we get to a goal, get another one. Because that's what life is. As we do so, we manage your money today, manage your debt, you work to earn more money, saving, investing, and then protecting your wealth. So let me illustrate what I mean by that. So I want to give you the 3 tips. We always give these tips Because wherever you are and whatever situation you are, you want to think about these strategies, and we'll get into more detail about them next week in module 1, but I want you to take them home and begin to implement them now. So here's the thing. If we're going to manage our money today, here are 3 tips that are going to help you to do that. Number 1, pay yourself first as a practice, okay? And paying yourself first means the cash that you receive from your work, from your business, from wherever it is, paying yourself first means you save and invest first. Paying yourself is not what you do on the weekend or holidays and things. No, 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 no. Ladies and gentlemen, paying yourself means actually putting money where it will grow for you. Remember, people talk about that. You want your money to do work for you. That's what we're talking about here. And what we're trying to do is prioritize it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, say yes or no in the chat box. Just tell me if it's true or not. Most of us, isn't it? Most of us, we pay everybody else. And then if there's anything left, that's what we save and invest. Correct? Yeah? That's what we're talking about. Yeah. So it's a habit. It is a habit to begin to shift such that when money comes into your account, you say, before I look at my landlord, before I look at other things, all those other things, myself. Guess what that means, ladies and gentlemen? It means that when you receive your money and you start doing that, maybe you might see that you're living beyond what you can afford. We've had couples, and I highly recommend this if you're married. This is something to do with your partner. And we encourage people to come as couples into this class. We have a couples discount, all right, so that you can do this together and build wealth together. But we've had couples who come into this place and say, we were building a house just for the 2 of us. We've not even had kids yet. And we moved out of that house. Why? Because we realized in order for us to take care of our future, that house can start paying us today, and then we live in it in the future. Paying yourself, that holiday, that retreat, the things that you're talking about right now is a project. And it takes work and it takes preparation. Then you go and enjoy yourself. That's what it is. But paying yourself first means now beginning to put money aside because you have something greater ahead of you. And what we're trying to do is prioritize. We're not saying you won't have fun. In fact, the agenda of what we're talking about, and we're going to show you, this is an example of the budget that we have. It's called the Centonomy ABC budget. One of the mistakes that people do when they start discussing budgeting, and by the way, this is not a budgeting class. We spend all of 15 minutes to 20 minutes discussing budgets in module 1. We'll not discuss them again because this is a simple tool. You use it. But the problem that we have around our budgeting mindset is that we come to a budget and we think, a budget is to put handcuffs. We can never do anything. The mistake we do is we don't put sherehe, and for those of you who are not familiar with the word sherehe, partying or relaxation, R&R, wherever you're in the world, we don't put those things in our budget. And so when we eventually do it, then we wonder, where did the money go? Because we didn't plan for it. So when we come to the Centonomy ABC budget, we put our enjoyment and the things that we like, our plans to upgrade our furniture in our home, to buy a new phone, to buy a new car, we put it in the plan. Your budget should show you what your priorities are, including the fun stuff. The mistake we make is we remove fun from budgeting, and then we find ourselves wondering what life is all about. So pay yourself first. Tip number 2, track your spending. If you don't know where your money is going, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot decide. You can't make decisions. What we found is that people who can't manage 10,000 shillings, even if we gave you 100 million, you could not manage it. You think it's hard to spend 100 million shillings? Do you think it's hard to spend 100 million? You can buy one thing. You can buy a watch for 100 million shillings. Then what will you eat tomorrow? So we learn by taking control of where we are right now. And then the other tool, and I told you, these are tools that we give. This is called a balance sheet. We begin to see your assets versus your liabilities. So assets are things you own. Liabilities, ladies and gentlemen, are your debts. And we begin to see, where do you stand now? If you don't know where you are, how can you go to the destination that you want, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know where you are? So the balance sheet tells you, this is where I am today. For some of us, we're going to find out, oh, we are in negative balance sheet. No problem. Good. At least you know where you are. Then you're going to say, this is where I want to be. And because you now have your current location and the location you want to go, now we can put together a strategy to get there. So we are serious about doing financial freedom for you and for the generations to come. So, as a final point around this, I told you I'm going to give you 3 points, and then we'll take questions and kind of end what we're doing here, okay? But I want you to understand the difference between an asset and what a faucet is. An asset puts money in your pocket. A faucet, on the other hand, ladies and gentlemen, takes money out of it. Here's a quick example. So remember that the rental properties that we were talking about, the properties. So imagine if I had that 24 million, ladies and gentlemen, and I bought this house on the right-hand side and I live in it. What's the financial benefit to me? I'm sure you're going to say you don't pay rent. Wonderful, good, excellent. You might be able to use it as collateral, but most of the time your home is not a good idea to use as collateral. But you don't pay rent in your own home. Don't we want to be rent-free, isn't it? That's what we want. Good, wonderful. But in the chat box, ladies and gentlemen, is it free to live in your own home? Is it? Is it? Is it free? No. So money still comes out of your pocket to be in your own home. Now you begin to understand. You now begin to understand what I was talking about when I said a couple of years ago that people are wondering, why do we have to send money to support relatives who are living in their own home? I thought that was financial freedom, because your home is not financial freedom. Now, it is part of it, but it is not financial freedom. I want you to live in your own home. I do too. But I want you to understand what it does for you. If I took that same 24 million and put it into the rental property on the left-hand side, it could generate that 100,000 shillings to pay me to live in this house. Do you see what we're talking about here? So you own the rental property. It pays you 100,000 shillings every month to live in this house, right? I live in this house and it is mine. And I have to find the money to maintain, to pay tax, and to live in that house. Between the two of us, who is more wealthy? So we have to understand what an asset is, and we'll get into discussions about that. So I want you to write this down as your last tip, and we'll get into more detail about it next week in Module 1. Focus on what? Assets. Assets, investment assets put money in your pocket. They protect your investment, they earn you income, and they gain in value over time. Next, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to find financial freedom, I mentioned it before, we have to learn to do what? Manage your debt. Now, debt is one of those things. Until you see it, you cannot understand. So let me show you what we're going to discuss there. This is what we're going to do. Okay? This is what we're going to do. Hey, what if you have both, Monica? That is the goal, is to have both. You have your house that you're living in, but you have assets, Monica, that are paying you, Monica, to live there. Let me show you what debt looks like, just so that you understand the position that we are in. And we are being practical. These are the tools that we're going to give you in the class when you come into the session, so that you're making real decisions as you move along. Please move over for me if you don't mind. There we go. This is what I'm talking about. Don't worry about the dollar sign. I want you to understand what I mean. If I borrowed 1.7 million to buy a car, in shillings, doesn't matter what it is. The dollar sign doesn't matter. If I borrowed 1.7 million, at what rate are you going to get right now? Is it probably close to 18%? Let's say 18%, simply because of the the bond rates and the central bank rates. So don't worry about it, okay? 20, even if it's 20%, let's say 18 for now. Or who has told me 10? Yeah? If I borrow 1.7 to buy a car, that's just a normal car here. 18% for 5 years. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be paying 40. This is the number we know. I'll be paying 43,000 per month for 60 months. That's the number we know. The number we often don't pay attention to is this one down here, ladies and gentlemen. The number we don't pay attention to is this one. This is interest alone. So I didn't pay 1.7 million. I paid 1.7 million plus interest. Look at that. So how much did I actually pay for this car in the chat box? Very quickly, very quickly. How much did I actually pay for this car? I didn't pay 1.7. So for that car that you're saying you're paying 1.7, you're actually going to pay 2.6 million. For 5 years. After 5 years, you own that car, ladies and gentlemen, correct? How much is it worth after 5 years? So now it's yours. You have paid for it. After 5 years, you paid 2.6 million, and now at less than 2 million, my friend Odhiambo, you bought it at 1.7. How is it? It is far less than that 2. So my question to you, ladies and gentlemen, is your car an asset? Now, I didn't say that your car is a bad thing. By the grace of God, I have some outside here. I love my cars. But sitting outside there, they are just losing me money. I want to have assets that will pay me to drive these cars by the grace of God. Can I show you? So can you imagine if you come into a transaction like this and you've not even thought about that? What does that mean? So you're already in a place where you can, and if the rate changes, what happens? So watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, we're talking about, I want you to think, you've been thinking about taking a mortgage to buy a house. How much was the amount you wanted to borrow in the chat? Real quick, I want to show you what it looks like. Quick, quick, quick. How much for a mortgage? You've been thinking, I want that house. If I could get this. Brenda, you are the fastest. Good. So I'm going to put 15 million there, but it doesn't matter. Why? Because in the class, we'll give you this tool. So you'll be able to put in all your different debts and you can see how it works. Okay. So 15 million, you're not going to get it at 18%, probably around the mortgage rate now is what? 14 to 15%. Let's say 14%. Okay. And you're going to take that mortgage, if you're like me, maybe 20 years. So I want you to see what that looks like. So let's take it for 20 years. Okay. So have a look on the right-hand side there, 20 years. So per month, you'll be paying 186,000 for 240 months, okay? And you pay 29.7 million in interest alone over that 20-year period of time. So when we begin to think about the choices that we're making, and if you think this is bad, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a mortgage. You're being charged 14% per year. Those of you who have a credit card or you have taken a mobile loan, you're probably paying closer to 200% per year on that. So yes, you think you have borrowed 5,000 shillings per month. That's what you think. You've borrowed 5,000, but it's 5,000 at 200% per year. If you think a mortgage is bad, that 5,000 that you've borrowed on your mobile phone or through your credit card. Now, does that mean you can't take a mortgage? No. But it needs to make sense to you. You need to understand what that means over time and make a choice knowingly. I put this here so that it can actually wake you up to see what you're talking about. Yes, Grace, that's what I said. I didn't say you can't. I'm just saying when you see the reality of what you're doing, then you begin to think, what other options could I have? That's all I'm saying. And so when now you have that in mind and you come into the real estate class, now you begin to think, oh, what if I bought and built? What would that look like? What if I built off plan? I'm not here to say this is bad or this is good. I'm trying to show you this is the truth. And then now you make decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot survive if you're not managing your debt. And so we have to work through dealing with that. Next, ladies and gentlemen, you have to earn more. I know this sounds like it's so simple, but it is the truth. You have to figure out how you're going to put more money in your pocket. How can you become more valuable to your employer so you receive a promotion, or you get poached, or you get a different job? What can you do with your extra time and the gifts that God has given you to earn more? With the assets that you have. Hey, for all of you who said you have a plot somewhere that is empty, you've not even seen it. If you went to that plot and did something on it, what could happen? I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, there's no way to make more money. There's no way to have more money than to make more money. So we have to focus on that as well. So it's not just an investment strategy. You have to make the money in order to invest. And we're going to give you some tools around that. Ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned saving and somebody was asking about it. Saving is putting aside cash where it is secure and you can access it in an emergency. That's saving. So you're not looking for high rates of return. No, your primary concern is it safe? And can I get it? Now, is it 100% safe? There's no 100% safe investment on earth, but as close to safe as possible. That's what saving is. And we'll talk about a savings strategy. Okay? And so we're going to work out what does that look like? How much is it? And not just a strategy, but a savings goal for you. Because it's not just about saying, I want to save. How much? How much is enough? We'll talk about that. And we'll talk about it through a process called the emergency fund. And we'll give you a tool that helps you to build that. Okay? However, there's another guy here called Muhammad Ali who once said, he who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. And so at the same time, we're going to challenge you to invest. Now, investing means putting your money where it will significantly compound or grow so that you do what? Write this down, beat inflation. Because if your money is growing slower than inflation, then the value of it is less. And you want your money to be higher. So you're looking for investments that are going to give you a higher rate of return. Now, please listen to me carefully. Can you see the balanced approach that I'm talking about? And even with investments, listen to me, my primary concern is not risk. I just don't, nobody wants risk, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody does. Nobody wants. I want something that is sure. But I can assure you that investments that give a good rate of return have an element of risk. But I'm not looking for risk. I'm looking for what? The rate of return. And then once I look for the rate of return, I try and reduce my risk as much as possible to get that rate of return. So ladies and gentlemen, this idea of I'm going to save and then become a million, let me explain to you. Just so that you understand, you have to invest. Can I explain to you? If you are to save, listen to what I'm saying. If you are to save and put into a safe $1,000,000 shillings every month, $1,000,000 shillings every month. That's $1,000,000 shillings in dollars is what? $10,000 about, give or take, okay? If you are to become a billionaire, it would take you, ladies and gentlemen, saving $1,000,000 shillings a month. It would take you 83 years. Do you understand that savings is not the growth strategy? And that's saving $1,000,000 shillings every month, putting it in a safe. 83 years. Do you have 83 years to start planning? So those who have become billionaires are the ones, and those who have lots of wealth multiply their cash, their investments are growing significantly over time. And so you have to have a balanced approach, a savings approach and an investment approach. And that's why in the class we get into detail so that you understand the different types of investments that are in the way. So you begin to understand investment classes that have a high rate of return. For example, equities. And we use that as an example because we have a lot of data on the history of the stock markets and how they work. But that same kind of attitude or that understanding begins to, you can apply it to other investments that have a higher rate of return that you've been looking for. Then we have investment classes like fixed income that tell you exactly what they are. They are for income. They are not a growth. Remember we said the government bonds are not compounding investments. They simply pay out the interest in cash. We'll take you through a whole class to understand that. Property has multiple ways, whether it's buying and selling, rental returns, capital gains. And so when you're in the class, as I said, you have sufficient time to understand each one of them. You have access to the trainers. I am not the only trainer. We go into the market to get industry experts who are going to help you so that you understand the investment. Then you make the choice for yourself and invest. That's what this is about. And once you have made that choice for investment, ladies and gentlemen, we have to figure out how to protect your wealth. That's what it is. So the importance, ladies and gentlemen, of insurance. Is insurance a good investment? Yes. Now, are insurance policies all the same? No. So it's better to understand which one it is and make choices based on knowledge, not just the sales pitch of the insurance guy who came to see. And they're not trying to cheat you. By the way, because I don't want you to live with a bad attitude and think, oh, real estate agents are cheating me. Insurance agents, some may cheat you, but the majority of them want you to succeed because your success gives them success too. But many times, their offering doesn't fit your goal. So you want to know what offerings there are so that you select the investment type that fits your goal. So in protection, we talk about insurance, we talk about tax, we talk about estate planning, and each one of these is taught by an industry expert. You're going to be learning from a lawyer about estate planning. And estate planning is not just writing a will, ladies and gentlemen, no. What is a trust? What is a company? What is the best way, ladies and gentlemen, to sustain your wealth today while you're alive and in the future for generations to come? So we begin to discuss that and break that down. I want you to understand this, ladies and gentlemen. A guy called Bobby Answer said, success is where preparation and opportunity meet. The 101 class is designed to prepare you for the many opportunities in investment that you're going to come across in the next couple of weeks, days, weeks, months, and years. If you're prepared with knowledge and you actually have put aside the cash that you can invest, you have actually increased your income so you have some money to invest, you're actually paying down your debt quickly so you have money to invest, the opportunities will come. Guess what? Even in 2024, there are opportunities to invest. Guess what? Next year, there'll be opportunities. Don't worry, even if you missed last year's, there'll be some more coming. But are you prepared? And so the class is designed to prepare you in this way. Manage your money well, understand how money works through time value of money and debt, and then set goals in module 4, living abundantly. Opening your mind to say, this is actually what I want. What am I willing to do? And having set goals and understood how money works, now we get into the investment classes so that now we are not, because people want to know, okay, so how do shares work? I'll tell you how shares work. You either are going for capital gains or you're going for dividend payouts. Good. Now that you know how shares work, how does that help you? Doesn't matter unless you have a goal. Now, if your goal is growth, then you're looking for capital gains. If your goal is income, then you're looking for dividend payouts. So you select shares based on your goal. If you don't have a goal, I cannot help you, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we set goals and then get into the investment classes. So now you're asking real questions that affect you where you are. And we talk about treasury bills and bonds and unit trusts because these are the investments that we have in the market. We have real estate, all the different types. We have stocks, all the different types, as a basis for which to apply in the different areas of your concern. And then finally, we talk about, as I said, protecting your money around insurance, estate planning, and tax. And with all this knowledge, module 1 till 10, in module 11, now we say, good, put it into my financial plan. These are the choices I'm making today. With all the tools that we've shared you, the budget, the balance sheet, expense tracker, we've shared with you how debt works, the debt repayment scheme. We've shown you all these things. Let's make it concrete. And in a 12-week period, you begin to put together a 5-year financial plan that gives you steps to move. You heard it from the testimonials before here, where people are saying, I got the strategy to come out of debt, or I got the strategy for my children's education. I did this. Ladies and gentlemen, next week, 1st of February, the classes begin. It's 1 class per week. 1 class per week, okay? We are seeing, because there's a bit more demand at this point, if the classes are too big, we'll add another class on Tuesday, just so that there's enough time to interact with the trainers. You're not getting too lost. Like today, we have too many people in the session. We want to make sure that the classes are intimate. You can get to know one another and grow. So here's how it works. You come for 1 class per week, either during the week in the evening or Saturday morning. So far we have Thursday, 6 p.m. or Saturday, 9 a.m. You pick one. If you know you're going to be away on Saturday, you can come in on Thursday. If you know that you're going to be away on Thursday or you miss the class on Thursday, you're welcome to come in on Saturday. The key is that you learn, and we're trying to make it as flexible as possible for you, because we always give a discount for those who show up for a session like this, because you've given us your time. We appreciate you. So instead of paying 1,500 shillings for the registration, you can register today with only 500 bob, and then you pay the 48,000 in the fees in easy installments. The installment plan is as follows. You pay 500 today, and then by next week, 17,000. In 4 weeks from then, a month later, another 17,000. And then in another 4 weeks from then, 14,000. This is to make it as easy as possible for you. And if you require some assistance around the payment plan, you can always reach out to the numbers on the screen and the email there, nancy@centonomy.com, or the number 07000636,433. You can see it there at the bottom and follow up. So I want you to make that choice to register today. So Nancy, if you can, kindly in the chat box, she's going to put a link to which you can register. So you're going to make the payment, but put in your details so we can reach out to you. I'm making the payment today. Okay? I'm making the payment today. So Nancy's going to put that link. She's put it there. Thank you for joining us for this session. To enjoy the registration discount of 500, please click on the link here. So do that and put in your details. And then once you put in your details, here's the payment details. You can use M-Pesa. Okay? And for those of you who are outside of the country, thank you so much. We have our bank details. So guys, take a quick screenshot of this so that you have the M-Pesa details to make your payment. All you do is look for pay bill number 986850. Then you put in your name, for example, Waithaka, and the number 101 after, or Jane 101. So we know which program you're coming for, Centonomy 101. For those who are outside the country, take a quick screenshot. So I'm about to move on to the next slide. Those outside the country, it's only $5, $5 US to register, and then we'll give you the payment plan in USD, okay? All right, so please, those who are outside the Kenya, you can take this quick screenshot for the bank detail. We also have a PayPal payment system. So in case you'd like to use that, you can also reach out to nancy@centonomy.com. She'll give you the details on it. But please look at the chat box. We're going to keep putting those details there. Click on that link to register to take advantage of the discount on registration today. I'm going to put it in the chat box one more time. Just click on that link, register, and then make the payment so that you get the benefit of that 1,000 shillings off or $10 off. You're only going, for those who are outside of Kenya, it's $5, 5 USD to register. Those in Kenya, only 500 bob to register today because you've given us your time. Okay. Couples discount, 10% on the tuition fee. So this discount that we are seeing here on the screen is a discount on the registration. But because you're coming as a couple, you'll get 10% discount on the tuition fee, which is about 4,800 shillings. So you need to think about that, okay? So we're starting the classes next week. So this is a great time for you to make that investment. So by the end of 2024, you'll be in a completely different place than you were at the start here, okay? So one more time, the classes start next week, Thursday, 6 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. It's the same class in each one of those sessions. So you pick one. We ask you to kind of maintain that class. But should your schedule change, you're more than welcome to attend a separate one. What we've seen recently is people are often coming for both. But this is the time to make that investment. Okay. So as we have that on the screen and the details that are there, I'm going to encourage you. Yes, you can pay registration and first installment immediately. Eddie, please go ahead and do that. Please go ahead and do that. So we're going to take questions right now. We run this program 3 times a year. So here in February, in June, and in September, you can take advantage of that registration. So we're going to go to the questions right now. And I'll go to the questions. So if you have questions, go to the Q&A, put them in there. And if someone would like to talk, because I've been talking by myself for a long time, if you raise your hand, I may be able to call you out. Maybe I should do that first, right? Stella, you wanted to say something. Your hand is raised. So you can unmute and ask your question, Stella. Stella is taking a bit of time, so I'm going to give Frida an opportunity. Frida, you wanted to ask a question? Hi.
Hi, WACEKE. How are you?
How are you doing?
Yes, I'm well, thank you. So thank you for the session. I think you've already answered my question on payment. So I'll try to pay immediately. Thank you.
Take that step. That's it, Frida. And just like you heard from the testimonials, people many times don't know where the cash is going to come, but we'll give you, within module 1, we'll give you tools that assist you to find that money that's already in your pocket. Stella, hi, you wanted to ask something?
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
I wanted to ask if after the session someone is given a certificate or what? How
Yes,
do you
you
go?
are. You get a certificate at the end of the session. Yes, you do. You didn't see at the beginning we had that graduation ceremony. People were holding up their certificates to show you that you were
No,
there.
I didn't see it. I came when the meeting already started.
But if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see all our graduations there. You'll get a certificate, Stella. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So let me go to the questions in the Q&A. Let's say you earn 50K. How can one save and earn more money? We'll talk about that in module 1. So money management is understanding how much do I have? What are my needs? What do I need to work on? So for some of us, it means that we have to change our lifestyle in some way. Because 50K, then you have to remove tax. If you're a person of faith like me, you remove your tithe and offering, your support to family. So that reduces everything. Then now you have to figure out, okay, do I actually know where all my money is going? I always give the example. Many of us don't know how much we spend on transaction costs from the bank or from M-Pesa. And we begin to go through that. We begin to track our expenses and see where is there leakage in our money. If we can close those leaks, there's more money in your pocket. And then go figure out how do we increase our money and say, hey, what could I do? How could I increase my income over the next couple of months? What could I use my talents and gifts to be able to do so? So it is a process. Whoever asked that question, and we've done that. Kindly elaborate how I can get out of debt. I'm sick and tired of my debts. So in module 3, you can see there debt management. We talk about how debt works in much more detail than I did here today. And then we give you a debt repayment plan, how to prioritize. If you have a mobile loan, you have a Shylock, You have a personal loan with a SACCO, you have which one do you start with? How do you break them down? We give you an exact tool that helps you to attack these loans in such a way that you will be debt-free. So Mercy, that's what Module 3 will help you out. Make that investment and come into the class as you go. Dorcas has asked, will you send us the recording? I think Nancy already responded to that. Hello, guys and girls. I'm land rich but cash poor. Is there perhaps a solution? Yes. It's about reorganizing your assets so that they can be, Mr. X, so that your assets can begin to put money in your pocket. So it's to think, can they start earning you, even if you leased, can you rent that land to a farmer who needs that land and begins to put cash in your pocket? Can you sell and repurpose? So we'll talk about that strategy in the program. Good question. I'm really struggling with debt repayments to be part of my payings. Yes, I've answered the question on debt. We're good there. Does someone get a certificate? Yes, you get a certificate. Is there a way you help students who have no income at all but would passionately want to know about personal finance? We challenge you to say, guess what? You are living right now. You are eating and doing something. Many of us who say we don't have the cash, we actually do, but we're spending it on different things. You can find out and have a chat with Nancy. She might be able to assist you with the details there. What are your thoughts on SACCOs? They are one of the investment opportunities out there. They have really good savings plans and also investment strategies as well. So I want you to think, we'll talk about SACCOs. The issue with SACCOs is the guarantorship system. Many times the failure is that we guarantee people we don't trust or who are not trustworthy, but the SACCO plan itself is generally good if you use it well. So yes, we'll talk about SACCOs in detail in debt management as well. Will this class benefit me with little income? 100% yes, because you need to. One of the benefits of being in this session, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you have people from different backgrounds, different income levels, all of us offering something fresh into that space. And so for those of you who are saying, I don't have so much money, no problem. Be in a class where there are people with a lot of money. If you've ever listened to WACEKE talking about her history, when she was starting this class, she had almost no money, but she was attending meetings where the basic investment amount is 150 million shillings. She barely had 150 shillings in her account. Why? Because when you're around people who have 150 million shillings, you begin to think like them. So yes, Beryl, it'll benefit you greatly. Could you tell us more about Mansa X? No, go to SIB to do that. But I'm being as kind as I possibly can. In the Centonomy 101 class, we don't teach about specific investment. We talk about investment classes, okay? So Mansa X is a type of unit trust, and we'll look at how unit trusts work so that you can decide whether that one works for you, okay? And then we also give you directions as to how to find out more from, for example, Standard Investment Bank that gave you that. Can you be able to consult with the trainers after class? 100% yes. Trainers share their details so that you're able to follow up and get assistance around what they're doing. Yes. For registration, if I'm diaspora, my parents who are based in Kenya are paying for me. Will they use the Kenya-based information and payment plan? Yes. But please do consult with Nancy so that you get the best deal around that. Ruth is asking, can you tell us a little bit about SACCOs? I've already mentioned that, so I'm going to move on. Say I have a loan, but I'm not used for the intended purpose. Can I just repay the whole amount and avoid the monthly payment? Yes, you can do that. How do you go about couples registration? Just mention it as you're doing so. So for the registration, you pay 1,000 shillings today, and then you get the further discount. If you're registering as a couple, you get the further discount on your monthly payments, okay? So do register together as a couple. Excellent job, guys. Good job, good job. You never touched on SACCOs. I'm a youth and blinded on matter SACCOs. I don't have the time to get into it. However, I told you SACCOs, majority of the time, savings and credit. So it's in the name, savings and credit. So it's a good place for savings, a good place for credit. And you have to think, why? What is the benefit? And how do I grow around that? So the issue many times with SACCO, especially around the savings, is the savings is locked. And you are locked according to the borrowing that you're doing. So in the debt management class, we'll get into a lot more detail about how SACCOs work and how they can benefit you as you choose it as one of your investment strategies. So when are we starting Centonomy Gold? We are in the midst of repackaging it. So if you're interested, you can always email Nancy and we'll be able to mention to you, get back to you when it is back online. So to people who earn less than 20K, how can one save? There are many ways. There are many ways you can save, and we'll elaborate on them. Because you see, people often, unless, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me, unless you're below the poverty line, where food, literally you cannot afford food or housing, and I know there are people who are like that, but the likelihood that you can afford the data to be in this room, if you're at that level, you're probably not at that level. But with 20,000 shillings, you can begin the savings and investment strategy, and also which includes how do you earn more than 20,000 shillings. So come on, guys. We cannot stay here and say, oh, there's no hope for me because I'm earning 20,000. There's a way to earn more than 20,000. Now let's give this example of the watchman at the estate we used to live in. He was probably taking home minimum wage, 13K or something like that. But he said, you know what, I'm not just going to do that. And he started washing people's cars at night because he's watching the place, but he's also washing the cars. He more than doubled his salary by doing that. Are there ways you can do more? Yes. It's about being creative and about being passionate about what you're doing. I've mentioned, but I have no idea how to invest, kind of investments that I should have. Be there. Kindly advise, come to the class. We have 3 detailed investment classes and 4 other support planning classes to assist you with that. You are in the right place if you come into the class. You gave a definition of a time that slipped my mind as taking account of compounding interest over the years. What was the term again? I don't know. Sometimes I speak quickly and I forget what is going on there. I'm not sure what I said there, but I'm sure if you get the recording, you can go through that as well. How can one learn how to track expenses? We will show you that in detail next week in Module 1 and even give you a tool that you can begin to use. Do we get to learn on tax? Yes, Module 10. Vera down there, Module 10, tax. Black tax has purely been the biggest portion of my spending. Is this healthy? No. I don't like the term black tax. I love family support. Those are good things to talk about. And it's one of our strengths as Africans. And so the only issue is, like every good thing, any good thing can be out of control. And so we want you to take control of that element. Today, I've been talking for a long period of time. In the class for the 2.5, we usually take a 10-minute break in the middle, but I wanted to finish so we can be able to get out of this as we go ahead. Is Forex trading an investment option? No. Forex trading is a business or a skill set or a job. And so you can earn money doing that. Is it an investment? Unless somebody else who is a professional is doing it for you. Do you have one-on-one financial planner services? We have a detailed plan that you're going to put. If you look at Module 1, Module 11, you put together your financial plan and we assist you to do that as we go through it. I have mentioned it, but I have no idea what to invest. I've answered that question already. Can you touch on Forex? Thank you. Forex, the problem that we have at the moment is that Forex is been brought into the market in very different ways, especially through our mobile phones. And so people are getting involved in a very volatile space without much experience. Here's how to think about Forex. Please, kindly go to any of your banks or investment banks and ask to see the Forex trader, okay? The Forex trader has had training, gone to school, got certified, and has been practicing in Forex trading for years with a different mindset. So between you and that guy, who is probably going to find success? Just think about that. So can you make money in Forex? Yes. Is it likely that you're going to make money as just a day trader? I don't know. We would have had many testimonials if it was that way. Are your classes online only? Yes. We do have a couple of sessions, for example, like our graduations, which we try and meet together, but we are primarily digital, and this is a learning experience. So as I said, you've gotten a different learning experience, James, because we have too many people in the room to be able to do a classroom. So in the classroom, you have your cameras on, we have discussions, you have your mic on, we have discussions. And so it's a different experience. You'll have received notes in advance, you receive tools. And so it's a very different experience from what we've gone through today. The investment groups journey together. Some do. It's by choice if they do. Forex is a game of chances. No, they are professional traders and they do make money. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been amazing. You guys are awesome. You've taken the first step towards your financial freedom. Take the next step and register today. Register through M-Pesa 986850. Take a quick screenshot of that. Give you 2 seconds to do that. Or payment internationally, $5. And then we will reach out to you. Also in the chat box, I'm putting the link one more time. Just once you've made the payment, put your details into this link here so we know that you've actually come through this session. We'll be able to assist you with that, okay? Oh, Brian, it has been my pleasure. I've loved it as well. Moses, thank you. You guys are amazing. That you sat here for 2 hours plus just listening. I mean, I'm humbled by that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Woo. So make that investment. See you in class next week. Here's the thing, guys. Many times we say, I'll get to it at some point. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. One day I'll get to it. But next month there'll be inflation. Next month there'll be this. Next month there'll be that. Make the commitment today. It will force you to find the solution. It's like business owners. You know, business owners, when we're training business owners, we always tell them, when the client says, can you do this? The first answer you give is yes. Even if you've never done it, say yes, then you go and figure it out. Okay? Because it's very easy for you to say, no, I don't have it. I don't have. Yeah, but you probably do. And you'd be surprised, right? You probably do, and you'd be surprised. So look forward to seeing you all in class next week. It has been my pleasure. God bless you all. Have a wonderful, fruitful, abundant 2024. And we want to be part of your journey along that to wealth creation. God bless you guys. My pleasure. Oh, you guys are amazing. I love my job because of people like you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Take care, guys. Bye.